Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Apple Box Chronicles. My name is Peyton Buto.
And I'm Adryon Thomas.
And today on the ABCs, we are taking you from A to Z on two films that we hold very dearly, Seven Samurai and Saving Private Ryan. You definitely know about these movies. If you haven't seen them, we are going to be spoiling them. And that is because these are world cinema classics that you should be seeing. You should be watching these.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen them, what are you doing? I don't know how you even got here, to be honest, but... we're doing this to reintroduce a segment that we recently did called, say the name.
We call it the SPLIT DIOPPELGANGER.
Which is essentially comparing two films that we find have share some kind of tie. Last time we did Dress to Kill and Psycho, which are very much known to be twin films. They're pretty much homage. Well, one is homaging the other so heavily that it's like obvious. This one, not really the same thing. They're not connected per se, but they are interesting thematically, character, plot-wise. You can kind of draw some comparisons as well as contrasting them culturally, one being a Japanese film, one being an American film, one coming much later than the other in history, and so therefore you could see some homages and influences from the other as well. So these movies are directed by Steven Spielberg, who directed Saving Private Ryan, and Akira Kurosawa, of course, who directed Seven Samurai. Two of our favorite directors, and I'm more of a Kurosawa guy. He's more of a Spielberg guy, so it kind of like works out. There's a balance to this. I guess we should talk about how we feel about these directors. If you want to go first.
Sure. I guess we could talk about Spielberg for a second, since that's my favorite director. I probably said it before, but I don't really have a list of this is a ranking of my favorite directors of all time. It's just they kind of come and go, change, and there's a few that have stayed for a long time, a few that have I've been they're my favorite, they're one of my favorite, and then they just kind of dissipate after a while. But Spielberg has always been my number one. He will always be my number one. I don't think I'll ever change ever. But yeah, love the guy. I think he usually does no wrong when he makes movies. Every once in a while there'll be a little dud, but obviously Saving Private Ryan is one of the monuments in his career. He lost Best Picture for this, which was known for being one of the greatest losses in Oscar history, probably because it lost to Shakespeare in Love. Very interesting movie to lose to. It's not a bad movie, but it's really? Shakespeare in Love won Best Picture against Saving Private Ryan. That's kind of crazy. I also have this theory that this could happen again this upcoming Oscar season, with Hamnet versus One Battle After Another, because I feel they're kind of similar in the types of movies.
Well, I mean, one is literally a Shakespeare inspired story. That's a sour subject for me because I literally am 2 days out from me being amongst hundreds of people to get turned away from the Austin Film Festival screening of Hamnet because they did not have nearly enough seats to cover everybody. Literally only 2/3 or 3/4 of the people with badges got in, and nobody else. I'm fucking pissed about it. I want to see Hamnet so fucking bad.
Yeah, also, interesting enough, Hamnet, produced by Spielberg.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so he's I'm gonna win it this time. I'm gonna win over PTA.
Yeah.
And he's gonna know exactly how it felt, and I'm gonna be Shakespeare.
I think that's gonna be such an interesting race because obviously Spielberg loves One Battle After Another. He's great friends with PTA, and then you also have Hamnet, which he's a producer on with Sam Mendes, but it's not necessarily a movie he didn't direct the movie, so it's not really his movie. But it's gonna see where he lies in that
No, he's gonna go up on the stage, accept best picture, and flip PTA off.
Anyway, we're getting off subject, I guess. But Steven Spielberg, my favorite director. I've been watching his stuff for as long as I could honestly remember. Early movies that I've seen were Jurassic Park and Hook, and obviously E.T. and whatnot. But one of his films that I saw at an early age was Saving Private Ryan. like when I was like 11 or like 10 or 11 or something, like pretty early. Like it's kind of crazy that I saw it that early. But my I remember my dad, he was like, I think we watched a movie. I think it was Boy in the Striped Pajamas, when he was like, oh well, if you like this movie, you should watch Schindler's List and Saving Private Ryan. And I did watch those movies. Those movies are great. But I just find it funny that, like, at such a young age, he was like, yeah, watch those movies. Those are, you're older. You'll understand what those movies are about and what they're trying to say. Didn't. It took me a while to figure out, like, oh, yeah, this would actually happen. This is crazy. But yeah, I saw the Saving Private really, really early in my life. And I've, obviously when I first saw it, I was more blown away by like the action and like, holy crap, this is like realistic and insane. But then as I've grown older, I've come to see more of the depth of the movie and what it's really trying to say, and how even though it's a war movie, it still has those anti-war moments where it's like, this is why we shouldn't have wars, because this is how brutal and how destructive it is to the people, everybody in the movie. So yeah, it's only grown better and better as the years have gone by.
He's being shy about it. I think, like, we were at P. Terry's and you were like, we know it's really good. I don't think you even understand how good Saving Private Ryan. I don't even get it. It's so good, I don't even know how good it is.
Yeah, there was a moment, because this might be cringy to some people, but I every once in a while I watch like reactors on YouTube, like watch movies for the first time, which I think is interesting for me as someone who wants to like get into film and be a filmmaker, but also as someone who talks about movies all the time, is to kind of get the initial reactions from people that watch these movies, just normal people that aren't like huge into films. They're doing these reactions to get more into movies and kind of share it with people, but they don't know much about it. So, and like the little details of being like how to make movies and whatnot. So just to kind of see like an ordinary person's reaction to movies are very interesting to me. Kind of see where they lie in, like where they cry or where they get scared or where they laugh. Watching people watch Saving Private Ryan, I was seeing how they were interpreting some of the characters and some of the moments in the movie, and I was like, this is great stuff. Like, people are talking about things in this movie that I never even thought about. And so that's why it kind of occurred to me that, oh, there is much more to this movie than I even thought about when it comes to evaluating what the movie is about. So that's kind of where we came up with this idea, because I was like, it really reminded me of Seven Samurai in a lot of instances. And I told you about it, and I was like, we got to do something about it. We got to talk about this, because this is kind of crazy.
It needs to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And then, Kurosawa, Seven Samurai, that's kind of how I feel about him, is like, I'm just like, I don't even... So whenever people ask me, especially non-movie people who, like, probably have heard of Saving Private Ryan, because it's very, very popular. But I feel like for Seven Samurai, especially here in America, if someone's not a movie person, they probably haven't seen it, because it's an old Japanese movie from the 50s, and as influential and popular as it is amongst movie fans, I feel like even if you haven't seen a lot of movies, if that's not something you involve yourself in, and you don't live in Japan, and I don't even know, honestly, if in Japan, if people think about it that much. I don't know.
No, I'm sure in Japan this is like considered like great. Like, it's considered one of the greatest movies of all time, like worldwide, everywhere.
Well, yeah.
But also the thing about movie people, like film bros or whatnot, they're so jaded. Like, what are you? There's some people out there that are literally like, if it's a black and white movie, it's not as good, or if it's a foreign movie, it's not as good.
Well, and there's also this idea that, sorry to cut you off, but there's also this idea that, like, if you like a black and white or foreign movie or an old movie, you're lying.
Yeah, you're being pretentious or something.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, they're great. You just because it's black and white doesn't detract from the fact that it's telling a good story with good characters, directed well. It just doesn't have color in it, which sometimes helps the movie out quite a bit. We talked about this in like Psycho and like how the movie's better being black and white than it would be in color. And the same with foreign movies is okay. You have to read subtitles because you don't.
It's all
understand.
in your head, bro. It's all like, sorry. It's all in your head. It's all like, I think it's all psychological, and you think it's going to be hard to read subtitles, but once you've done it for 2 minutes, you'll literally just start. It's like it just starts becoming subconscious.
It's natural, yeah.
And you start reading it in the character's voice, and you start kind of weird, like you can like process it immediately. It's weird. I mean, the brain is capable of more than that. You know, the attention spans are kind of down these days, but really, I do recommend this 3-hour-long movie with subtitles, and that's in black and white 4:3 and Japanese.
It's great. And
so my point is that when people ask me that question, they ask me, "Oh, you're a movie person. Like, what do you think is the best movie? Right? What's the best movie?" I always say Seven Samurai. This is like my go-to answer. I think it's
like Jaws is my go-to answer.
Well, it's not even like favorite that I'm talking about. I'm saying like, and obviously this is still an opinion. But I think Seven Samurai is like just the most rock solid fucking movie like I've ever seen. Like I'm like, this is in terms of an epic, in terms of like having a really strong heart and message and being incredibly entertaining for how long it is, and just like I just think it's a perfect movie. I just think it's the best one. Like I don't. It's not even my favorite Kurosawa, but I do think it's his greatest achievement in a way.
Yeah, no, it's a fantastic. It's like I've been noticing a lot of these like kind of mini epics where it's like when I think of an epic, it's like so grand, like you're encompassing like many characters, many locations, big stuff happening, and then there's like this mini epic where it's like there's a lot of characters, there's several locations, but the ideas are big, and like what they're doing when you go into the details of it all, it becomes more epic than you would initially think. Like if you're just talking about 7 samurai have to save this village, it sounds kind of compact and like, okay, it's one small village, there's only 7 dudes saving it, so it's not necessarily epic in the sense that if you look at movies like, I don't know, like Lawrence of Arabia, where it's like huge scoping film, but when you look at the details and the characters and how they kind of divulge into each and every person and how they relate to each other, the movie becomes more epic. And the same thing with Saving Private Ryan, even though it's a war movie, which inevitably becomes epic just because it's a war movie, it's still about these few guys that are trying to save one dude, which kind of compounds it to what would be a smaller sounding story.
So it's a simple story,
but it branches
on
out
a sprawling scale. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, Kurosawa, one of my favorite directors. I went on a binge back in 2022, watched all of his movies, or 2022 or 2023, I think it was 22. I watched all of his movies that he's ever made, except for, of course, the one he co-directed that's not available because it is completely gone. It is literally lost media. Like, there is no copy of it in existence, so you can't see it. But other than that, I've seen everything he's ever made, and I just think he's a master. He's everyone pretty much agrees upon that. That's seen his work. I think some are better than others, but like I said, Seven Samurai is arguably his greatest achievement. I would also say Ron is up there because that shit is just huge.
Yeah.
He directed that
epic.
when he was going
epic.
blind when he was directing that, and it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Like, seriously, I couldn't believe it. But yeah, not to get off topic, I think what you're saying is right. Seven Samurai is a simple story, but he gets, I think, the most out of it that you possibly could. And same thing with Saving Private Ryan as well. I think on a craft level, on a technical level, there's really no no digs at these movies in my eyes. I can't really think of a thing where I'm like, that didn't work. I just think everything, the blocking, both of these directors are incredible at blocking a scene and moving the camera to the point where you have to actively notice to really see it, but it's just taking you through the movie effortlessly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you can analyze it, sure, and it gives you more to appreciate, but like the movie really like lifts you off your feet and it just takes you through it. I think in both of these.
And in terms of like blocking, obviously Kurosawa is like almost is like the god at it. Like he's like so good at like just putting people's faces like all in perfect frame in the film.
Yeah.
And Spielberg obviously learned that from him, and Kurosawa would learn that from people like John Ford, which we'll talk a little bit more later. But we kind of see how just the fact that Spielberg is such a great fan of Kurosawa, like most directors are. Like it would be rare to find a director who's like, yeah, he was fine.
Yeah.
But most directors take from Kurosawa because he was really that good at like blocking and like just the visual aspect of filmmaking. Take apart the fact that all the characters and whatnot, just the visual aspect of Kurosawa's movies are so good that everybody was like, yeah, he's the guy. He's the guy you watch to do that stuff.
I think it's the way, and I mean, this is like a famous thing because I think this YouTube channel called Every Frame of Painting that used to make content and doesn't anymore made this video on Kurosawa that I think opened people's eyes a lot. They talk about how he uses movement and weather and wind and all these things, and like how he moves his characters and his camera in like a very brilliant way. It's a good video, and I think you should watch it. But I think that's where a lot of people draw this idea that he's amazing at just movement in general, and I agree. I think his it often reflects in his characters and what they're going through as well. Like I think it's he's telling a lot of stories about tragic characters who kind of they're tortured because they are resisting their place in the movement of the world. They're like, I'm they've found a way to stay still and it's kind of killing them, and then they have to find the thing that allows them to join movement. It's almost like he's very, very in touch with like nature and how that connects to human beings and how it contrasts with the bureaucracy and the systems that we create, which is why, and we'll get into this later, but that's why I think a lot of his samurai stories, the vast majority of them are not about samurais following a master or being following a code of conduct. In fact, in this movie, one of the first things we see a samurai do is break the code of conduct and say, it's not an honorable act to shave your top knot off and cut it off. And he does it, Kanbei at the beginning does it because he needs to pretend to be a monk to save a child. And that is the kind of story that Kurosawa is interested in, is like, you have to break the artificial, the construct to do the right thing sometimes. Yep. And I think he's really always telling stories like that. And so yeah, that's why I think he's more telling stories about Ronin than official samurai that follow the rigid code of conduct that follow a master. It's more about Ronin and their battle on the precipice of obsolescence. Like they're about to become like completely useless because of westernization and all these things. So we'll get into it later, but those are the films, and we love them both, obviously. I guess we should get into it and what makes these similar first, which is probably this is actually the meatier part because it's obvious what is different about these films. We have some stuff for sure that we can shed light on, but what's more interesting is how we're going to reach and tie these films together, because hopefully we can just appreciate both of them more.
The similarities I don't even think is reaching that much, because Spielberg has said that Seven Samurai is like one of his favorite movies. He would rewatch it before making movies, just like other films. So I don't think it's much of a reach to kind of compare the two, because I'm sure there's like pretty obvious moments in the movie in Saving Private Ryan that's kind of calling back.
You're right.
Seven
It's
Samurai.
not like a huge, I guess, reach or anything. Maybe that's just me trying to be preemptive and be like, guys, we know we're not like
Yeah.
we're not trying to say this movie's copying this
Yeah.
other movie, right? You know what I'm saying? Like we're not saying that these are twins necessarily.
Yeah.
It's really just to show what these movies both do extremely well, and just some fun little like, you know, hey, this is kind of like this, you know, like
Yeah.
how can we better understand both of these movies by putting them together? That's the whole point of these episodes. Anyway, you had a theory that you told me at P. Terry's.
Yeah, so when I was really like coming up with this, not idea, but the thought of these two movies being like very similar to each other, it was more in the idea that they both mean something to the core audience in the countries that they're from. Like Seven Samurai means something very different to the people of Japan, and Saving Private Ryan means something very different to people in America, and how they're both basically the same movie. They're both accomplishing the same goal for the audience that they're made for. And I just thought that was very, very interesting, because we really don't see movies like this nowadays as much as we used to. I can't even like compare these two movies to any other movie that has come out within the last like 30 years.
Yeah, I was actually saying while we were rewatching Saving Private Ryan for this episode that I was like looking at these sets and I was like, this must have cost a shit ton.
Yeah.
I mean, especially adjusted for inflation, it would cost a shit ton. And I was just like, nowadays, you know, you gotta, if you want to make The Brutalist, you gotta make it for like $9 million and find a really like creative way to do it. Like this, I just feel like, yeah, it is. I don't want to say they don't make them like they used to, but I mean, in some aspects, in some respects, they don't.
Yeah.
And I'm just looking at this and I'm like, when in my lifetime is the last time I saw a movie like this come out, where it was just so, I don't know.
Like, it's like there's, like we were talking about, there's like an epicness to them that, I don't know, we just don't see a lot of epics today, even if it's a small epic. We don't.
I don't know if it's epic, it usually isn't as also intimate as this.
Yeah. That's also the thing with epic movies, is that it's hard to have movies that kind of touch.
Lord of the Rings
Sure,
would
yeah,
be close, but that was only a few
yes.
years after
Yeah,
Saving Private Ryan. If you think about it, that wasn't. That was less than a decade later.
yeah.
So it's not that far off. But if you're looking at the 2010s and the 2020s, where is it, bro? Like, where is the last...
I guess if we want to touch bases on this, we could talk about, the Marvel, like, Endgame, Infinity War.
Yeah.
But it's also like those are attached to this franchise where you had like this 10-year...
Yeah, these just don't just pop up anymore.
Yeah.
You have to have so much build-up. And also those, again, they have, definitely a soul to, like, I guess, in Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, there's likable characters in those that, and especially if you've followed the franchise, like, yeah, that's emotional.
Yeah.
You do hit that kind of soft spot in the viewer by the end of those movies, but you're not, like, entering a whole new world where it's like, oh, wow, like, I'm wrapped up in these characters that I had never met before today.
Yeah.
And you feel like you really get to know them on this whole big, like, journey.
Yeah. Honestly, the person that's doing the best, like I've said, these, like, mini epics is, I'm just glazing them again, PTA. Like, you got, like, There Will Be Blood.
There Will Be Blood as
one battle after another. It's like these movies that are so detailed that it brings out an epicness to them. It's like it's so well figured out and like thought about.
Oh yeah,
like,
those movies feel huge. Like, One Battle. Those characters are very, very like alive.
Yeah,
and there's a language to those movies that is very specific. like the way that the music is used in that film. We did 2 episodes on it, so you should just listen to those. But like, yeah, the way that that movie develops the language. I would also even throw Oppenheimer in there.
Oh yeah,
because I think Oppenheimer is, this is, I guess, another subsection of this episode, other epics. Oppenheimer is like is kind of like that, because I think the way that Nolan,
I think Oppenheimer is more in relationship to, this should be our next episode, Oppenheimer and Lawrence of Arabia.
Ooh, okay, that would be cool.
Because it's really about one guy who's really trying to find his place in the world, and by doing that, he just kind of makes it worse.
But that would be great. Yeah. Nobody steal that idea. I will fucking kill you. I don't mean that actually. I'm joking.
Yeah.
I will be pretty upset.
But anyway, yeah, you were talking about Oppenheimer?
Oppenheimer, yeah, it's this it's this epic movie, but what Nolan does is he like makes it so digestible, even though there's all this historical, all this, like, I guess World War II like jargon that everyone's talking about in the movie, and there's all this historical these historical facts that it's covering, and like it's a very like dense movie. Yeah. But at the same time, Nolan is able to construct the film in such a way to where it kind of I imagine that movie is a big like poster board or like wall board with the thumbtacks and the yarn. And it kind of goes all around to different people and conspiracies and like places. And I just picture that as being the movie, because wherever Nolan puts those little bookends and those little, I guess, bookmarks, you could say, in the movie are so brilliant. Like, he uses these cues that just train your brain on how to watch the movie and where you are in the story all the time. When Einstein's hat flies off, that little detail of Oppenheimer picking up Einstein's hat for him and the wind blows it off is literally like essential to that movie, because as soon as you see that image again of Einstein having his hat blow off his head, you're like, oh, we're back here. Yeah. I know where I am, and I know why this is important to the entire story. And there's so many things like that, where there's something in the production design, there's something in the music, there's something in the delivery, there's something in the blocking that is just constantly telling your brain, we're going to come back here. Yeah. And that's, you know, I guess I'm glazing it.
Yeah. I mean, shit. Oppenheimer was like, the basis of it is this thick book that's just based on his life, and the fact that he was able to get that and like make it into like this very entertaining like education on this guy. It's hard to do, but he pulls it off, and a lot of people saw it too.
And it's a very, I think the messaging of it is also just really, really important. Yeah. You know, especially if you're living in America, you should just watch that movie. And yeah. Anyway, enough about that.
Yeah, let's get back into Seven Samurai and Saving Private Ryan.
These films are men on a mission movies. That is something they have in common at their core. There's some similar scenarios in here where you have, you have these men on a mission. Like we said, we're going to spoil these movies, but you have these men on a mission. Some of them are lost along the way, but you really get to know them. You grow to care about them. These deaths hurt. Yeah. I think they hurt more in Saving Private Ryan because they're more bloody and brutal and detailed, and lengthy. But and then you have this young character. One of the main, I guess, comparisons you could draw is between this character Upham, played by Jeremy Davies, and Katsushiro, who's the young samurai, wants to be like the older samurai in Seven Samurai. It's very similar, and they both go through this arc of becoming a lot more hardened by the end of each film. Yeah. So you have men on a mission, but in one of them, the mission is a man, and the other one, the mission is to protect a village. Yeah. So they're very different in, I guess you could say, setting, because one of them is more like a traveling movie, and the other one is more like you have like a montage of them traveling. There's recruitment, there's traveling, and then they're planning and defending this village. It's almost like the last act of Saving Private Ryan, but for like a whole half of Seven Samurai.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll get into what makes them different a little later. In terms of what makes them similar,
You're
I
right.
think,
I just kind of went
yeah,
off on that. I'm so sorry.
it's okay. I think we should actually talk about the characters first, and then go into like the other stuff.
Okay, sure.
But because that, I guess we can just kind of introduce everybody and what we're talking about.
Yeah, good idea. So, I guess we'll just take turns. So,
Yeah.
one of the characters we meet in Seven Samurai is played by Vin Diesel. His name is Adrian
Seven
Caparso.
Samurai?
Seven Samurai? Did I say that?
Yeah.
I've done that so many times just in
Their names are so similar, like
It's
with the S's. Yeah.
So in Saving Private Ryan, I'm so sorry. Yeah, Vin Diesel's in Seven Samurai. In Saving Private Ryan, you have Vin Diesel and Adam Goldberg, who play Adrian Caparzo, and a character named Mellish, or they call him Fish in the movie, played by Adam Goldberg. Those two are kind of like a twin character.
Yeah, that was my theory, is that these guys are like the two like twin symbols. They're like, they kind of rely on each other a lot because they're so close, and when you lose one, you kind of lose the other eventually. And that was kind of my idea. So when Vin Diesel, he's the first one to go, he's the first one to die. It's kind of like the character in Seven Samurai when they go on a kind of this branching off of a mission, and they attack these bandits while they're asleep. That samurai dies kind of preemptively, like before the real actual battle happens at the village. And it's kind of the first moment in which you're like, oh man, this is gonna be rough, because the guy that dies in Seven Samurai, he was supposed to be the fun.
He was like a great morale boosting samurai, and now he's gone. It's like when your favorite coworker quits.
Yeah.
Before like the busy season, it's like, damn. They say a line. It's like he was supposed to be a joy in hard times or something, and it's like, oh, and the hard times have just begun. So you feel that loss. Whereas in Seven Samurai, when Vin Diesel's character dies, you kind of feel like, oh man, like the Adam Goldberg character is like, it's that loss is mostly felt through him.
Yeah, and my theory is that when Adam Goldberg's character Mellish, when he dies, he gets stabbed with the Nazi youth knife that he finds in the opening beach scene. Very kind of, I guess, ironic that he would be stabbed by the thing.
There's a lot of poetry like that in this movie.
There's a lot of but he's calling out for help. He's asking for Upham to help him. But my idea is that if Vin Diesel were still alive throughout that time and was in that battle, he would have been the one to be able to help Mellish take down the guy, because that's kind of like his twin. He would have been the one that would save his life in the end, but he doesn't, because he's already dead. And so when you lose Vin Diesel, you inevitably lose Mellish. Yeah, so that's kind of my thought, is like, man, once these people, every person that we lose is kind of it's kind of like this domino effect of like how bad the next I guess action or battle is going to happen, because it's just going to get worse and worse with the less help you have, less people you have on your team.
Yeah,
which is kind of an obvious idea, but I think it was very pretty obvious with the Vin Diesel and the Adam Goldberg character.
Yeah, I agree. I think, and so yeah, we kind of clumped those together to compare them to the character of Heihachi, who dies first, and then we have Edward Burns' character Raiben, who is kind of like Kikuchio in a way.
The Toshiro Mifune character,
yeah,
the
best character in
the
Seven
one that
Samurai,
you see right there in the front. You would think that he's like the main character when you're watching Seven Samurai. He's kind of like a co-lead, I guess.
He, I think, just stands out because he's different.
He's actually not a real samurai.
Yeah, he doesn't come from like a samurai history.
Yeah.
He was a villager, and he hates villagers because he's seen the dark side of the villagers, and that plays into some themes that we'll get into later.
And I think he's very similar to Raiben, because Raiben is one of the lowest ranking people in their lineup, their
group. I don't know.
Yeah, he's a private, so he's one of the lowest ranking people that are there, other than maybe Upham, and yet he has the biggest mouth, and he has the most personality out of them. He's always talking his shit, and he's like, why are we on this mission? Why are we saving one dude when we could be out there in bigger battles helping out the actual war that's happening? Right. And I feel like they're very similar in that aspect, where they're both loved and hated by the group because of their personalities, but they do have a very strong heart to them as well.
Yeah,
a moral compass.
I think Seven Samurai allows itself to be a little sillier.
Yeah.
Both movies do have funny moments, but I think Kikuchio is like, he brings a lot of energy and life into the movie.
Like the scene where he's like on the horse and he's trying to like
he hops around, jumps around, like
he's like a live action anime character.
Yeah, the
he literally looks like like when he's acting and he's like jumping around, like I could see that in an anime.
Right, I'm sure there's influence, but it's really amazing the physicality that Mifune has in this movie, and the kind of bombastic energy he brings to the character. I think he's one of the best characters in a movie.
He's great.
He's one of my favorite movie characters ever.
Toshiro Mifune in anything is like one of
he's one of my favorite actors too. Like I think the fact that Kikuchio has the super huge long sword that's definitely he got from somebody else is like very indicative of his character, and like how he kind of like is so large in the movie and his energy is so much bigger.
Yeah. So
yeah, very like special character in my opinion. And then we have Barry Pepper, who plays Private Jackson, who is like
he's like the sniper.
He's an incredibly skilled sniper, and he's a man of faith as well.
Yeah, I think he's actually like the MVP of the group. Like he is the most important person to have in the team, because he's the guy. He takes out every obstacle that they come across. When we get to the beach in the beginning, they need to get around. He's the one who takes out the guy who's up the top, and that's when you first see him like shoot the guy, and they're able to get around and get through that obstacle. There's also when Vin Diesel gets shot by another sniper, he's the one that fixes that problem.
He takes the sniper out through the scope. He shoots him through his own scope into the eye.
Like he's their best player, I guess.
Yeah.
And
that's Kyuzo from
and that's
Seven
Kyuzo,
Samurai.
the guy who's just the best killer samurai.
Yeah, there's a part where they're like, I wish we had one of those muskets, and he's like, be right back, and then he runs off, comes back the next morning, he's like, 2 more are dead, here's a musket.
Yeah. Like they're the MVP, but it's also like very, very telling of the situation when they die. When Barry Pepper gets shot by a tank, they need a whole tank to take this guy out. He's that good. That's such a deep moment in the movie. It's like, oh shit, we lost our best player.
Kyuzo also gets taken out.
Yeah, and he gets shot by a gun, I believe. That's the one thing that could get him.
And that's something Kurosawa does, and Yojimbo as well. It's again like the whole eclipsing of samurai by the westernization. They're facing this obsolescence where it's like, oh no, like we have our time is kind of running out to be useful.
Yeah.
And to actually do what we're supposed to do. It's like, how are we supposed to compete with guns? We have swords right now.
Yeah.
And in Yojimbo, that's the one thing that could stop the samurai is the gun that he has to get around. Great cultural influences for this. We also have Wade, played by Giovanni Ribisi.
Yeah.
We've thrown him in with Gorobe
because I think they're both the humanist of the group. The true believers of what they're doing, because Wade, he's the medic. He wants to help people. He's trying to help people like after they've gotten wounded to get back up. And even in the scene where they're like looking at the dog tags, and everybody's like kind of making jokes and playing poker with these dog tags of dead soldiers, and all the other men that are walking through are kind of seeing these guys playing with dead men's dog tags. Wade is the guy who not even Tom Hanks's character, he's also playing along with he's like laughing along with the group. It's Wade who's like, what are you guys doing? You guys are like messing around with these dead guys stuff in front of their friends, and you guys look like assholes right now.
Yeah.
And he was the true like humanist of them all. He really believed in what he was trying to do, and he got real like whenever he would help a person in the opening of the beach scene, and he's like, I stopped the bleeding, and then the dude gets shot in the head anyways. He gets so mad because he's like, I'm trying to help this guy, and like he just dies. I did all this work only for this guy to die. It's like, and then when he dies, it's oh my god, it's
brutal.
It's the most brutal of I think any of the deaths, because he does have that moment earlier on, and this is why it comes back, where he's like, the best way to fall asleep is to try to stay awake. And he would know that because whenever he would be at home when he was a kid, and he would try to stay awake so he could see his mom after getting off of work, the more he would try to stay awake, the faster he'd fall asleep, and he wasn't able to actually like see his mom. But every once in a while he would still be awake, and his mom would come in and he would pretend to be asleep, and he was like, I don't know why he did that. I don't know why he did that. But then he gets shot. He's obviously going to die. The more he's trying to stay alive, he's just dying faster and faster, and they have to give him morphine, and he calls out for his mom because obviously,
that's what he's thinking about.
Yeah. He's like, he's trying to stay awake, but he's just falling asleep, and he just wants to see his mom. And it's so brutal.
It's sad.
So sad. And I think that's the same thing with Gorbe. He dies because
Kikuchio abandons his post.
Yeah, and it's the same situation with Wade. He dies because they had to kind of go on this side quest of stopping these machine gunners who are just hiding out, which was actually the fault of Captain Miller, Tom Hanks' character, which right after that, that's when Tom Hanks is breaks down crying. It's the first time we see that, which is also great scene. It's like, oh man, that is devastating. But they both kind of die in a similar fashion, where it's like they shouldn't have done that thing, but they did anyway, and so someone got hurt someone died because of it.
Yeah. And of course Upham and Katsushiro, the youngster of the group. We kind of talked about them a little bit, but there's a scene that's very kind of mirrors them, where they're both kind of hanging back and watching a battle take place in like this field of tall grass or flowers, and it's kind of so easy to draw the connection between those
it's
two.
Like once I saw that in Seven Samurai, on this rewatch that I did, I was like, oh my god, that's Saving Private Ryan right there. That's just him looking at these guys ambush these bandits, which is the same as Upham kind of watching the fight from afar.
Yeah, I mean, a very easy comparison to make there.
Yeah.
Sergeant Horvath, played by Tom Sizemore, is a little bit like Shichiroji, the character that's kind of Kanbei's right-hand man, because he knew Kanbei, the leader of the samurai, before the events of the film. And so that's kind of similar to him being the right-hand man of Captain Miller, Tom Hanks' character. And so that's why we've kind of paired those two guys together.
Also, a little fun fact about Tom Sizemore. Dude's really into drugs and alcohol. But when he asked Spielberg about being in this movie, Spielberg was like, you have to be completely sober to do this movie, or else I'm not going to have you on it. And so he went completely sober to do this movie, just so he could be in it and work with Spielberg to be in this movie. So I thought that was pretty cool. I think he got back onto drugs afterward, but I just thought that was like the amount of respect that actors have for wanting to work with Spielberg, that they would literally drop their bad influences and their vices just to work with him, is like the power of the man.
Pretty insane. Yeah. And then Captain Miller, Tom Hanks, is Kanbei, Takashi Shimura's character, the leader, the elder, the wise one,
the Yoda
of the group. I mean, Captain Miller definitely, I think, is a little more flawed, a little more vulnerable in Saving Private Ryan than Kanbei gets to be in Seven Samurai, but there's definitely like just a lot of lessons that he carries and gives to the other men that I think is true to both characters.
I think they also, my idea is that they both have this characteristic of whenever they're unsure, and for Captain Miller, his hand shakes a lot, he has like these tremors in his hand that he can't really control, and I think that usually comes about whenever something bad's happening or he has to make a decision for something that he doesn't know whether it's a good one or not. And I think it's the same with Kanbei when he shaves his head early in the movie, and so he kind of has this feeling of his hair growing back, so he's always got to like touch his head.
Yeah.
Which George Lucas used for Yoda in Revenge of the Sith when he's like dealing with a situation, he has to rub his head and be like, oh, I don't know what to do. And Kanbei does the same thing like Captain Miller. He has to like kind of do that head rubbing thing whenever he doesn't know what he should do, or like or if he's kind of contemplating something.
Yeah.
And like in Seven Samurai, when they're thinking about going to like their hideout where the bandits are sleeping and kind of attack them while they're asleep, I think there's a moment where he's like thinking about it. He's like, should we do it? Should we play on the defense or the offense? And he's like, yeah, we should do it. And that's kind of like the part where Captain Miller is like, should we stop these machine gun guys like off in the corner who's like ambushing people, or should we just pass them and continue to go with our mission? And they both have this moment where they're like, I don't know if like we should or we shouldn't, but then they go forward with it, which was kind of a bad idea, and they lose someone, and that's just something they have to kind of deal with afterward.
Yeah. And then we also have Private Ryan, of course, which is the villagers. Yeah. It's like that's the mission.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just a lot of parallels you could draw with each character in this movie. Obviously, it's not one-to-one, but it's like this is kind of what these characters mean, and I think it's important to cover that because that's the way that the themes of the movie can complement each other similarly.
Yeah.
Also, like you mentioned John Ford before, one movie that Spielberg watches a lot to prepare for making a movie is The Searchers.
Yeah.
As you told me.
Yeah, very much in the line of like these searchers about these two guys trying to find a girl that was taken by Native Americans, and that's the whole movie, is them trying to find this girl, which is pretty much what Saving Private Ryan is like. The first most of the movies, them trying to find this one guy.
And that's not Seven Samurai, but John Ford, huge influence on Kurosawa as well.
Yeah.
Which is why it ties together.
Yeah, because like I feel like it always just goes back to John Ford. Like when it comes to like a lot of the big movies that we know today, it's like it's always going back to John Ford, because he was truly the pioneer of making a movie not just look fantastic every time, but also having these very, very multiple dimensional characters that can be both bad guys and good guys at the same time, like the John Wayne character in The Searchers, who's like this racist Confederate asshole, but he's the main character and he's looking for his niece, and he's kind of learn with him the prejudices that he has for the Native Americans, and how we kind of have to get over it with him. And so we see that kind of stuff with Spielberg and Kurosawa as well, where we have these multi-dimensional characters that kind of bring the movie to a much more textured and detailed way than just having them look good.
Yeah. Huge influence on just so many filmmakers.
Speaking of which, the cinematography of these two movies, just like we've kind of gone over a little bit of it, but my God.
Oh yeah, the blocking, everything it's insane. I especially like in Saving Private Ryan when people die and you get those like crazy close-ups of blood just spilling out, and like I don't know, the close-ups in this film I find to be very arresting, because a lot of it is not a close-up. Like, a lot of it is very much like you're seeing just people, like, shooting at each other. You're seeing large groups, or you're seeing, moving around to different places of cover. And, like, when you get a close-up, it's usually something bad is happening. And it just kind of, like, comes out of nowhere. It's like, oh, you're, like, seeing a lot more nuances in the performances all of a sudden. And it really is, it has a great effect.
Yeah, there's also I just want to talk about the comparisons of the two, because there's scenes where the men are coming over a hill, very much Kurosawa and what he does with not only Seven Samurai but a lot of his other movies like Ron and like I don't know, like Sanjuro and things of that sort. But there's also this this kind of transitional scene where rain starts to happen and it's like dropping slowly, and then the sound design of the rain dropping mixes in with a shooting that you hear in the background and explosions, comparing the thunder with the explosions, which is very much like Kurosawa would do with, like you were saying earlier, with the way he directs weather and like rain, and how that kind of presents the setting of the whatever scene or movie or part of the movie they're in.
Yeah.
And I think that's like very, very noticeable and very, very much there.
Yeah, and of course the shots of men standing on a hill, sort of like that photo we have up right now. There's similar shots like that in Saving Private Ryan as well. It's like, oh, that's Seven Samurai. That's just what you'll say.
Yeah, we also
when
have
you watch it.
Picture if you want.
Yeah. I mean, we can, I guess, transition now, because we do have.
There it is.
Well, that's not exactly.
Yeah, no, but
you get the idea.
Yeah.
I guess we could transition into a few differences.
Yeah, what makes them different? One's American, one's Japanese.
Okay, thanks for listening. The type of mission is obviously different. In this one, it's more in Seven Samurai. It's like a defense mission on this village. In Saving Private Ryan, there is a defense mission at the end, but it's like they're just trying to find this guy. It's like I said, it's more of a traveling movie.
Yeah. It's like a searching movie.
And also it very much just that's it. Like, it's Saving Private Ryan is literally the name of the movie, and that's it.
Yeah.
Now, Seven Samurai, there's Seven Samurai in it.
Yeah.
But there's some B plots. There's some stuff that, there's some other stuff going on with the villagers. There's one villager who makes his daughter pretend to be a man so that the samurai won't be like go after her. And I think like it's kind of sad.
Yeah.
But you see how both the samurai and the villagers have these prejudices against one another, and they have to kind of put those aside in order to protect the village, which is the important part. And they have to both agree like, yeah, this is important to do. And my favorite thing in the movie is when Kanbei says, this is the nature of war. You protect others, you protect yourself. And, I mean, you're seeing Saving Private Ryan as a whole movie about saving this one guy.
Yeah.
And usually when I think this is a very true to, like, our current reality, where a lot of people are very easily brushing aside big problems happening, and they're kind of getting closer and closer to affecting literally everybody. But because it doesn't directly affect them yet, or they can't see how it's affecting them, it's like kind of invisible. It's like, oh well, it's not a big deal for me, and that's not my problem. Like, it's this idea that if you don't care about the other person, then it's only a matter of time before it becomes your problem too, and then there's less people to help.
Yeah.
So it's like if we all cared about each other from the get-go, we would be able to better hold on to the things that matter, and we'd also come together as a result and find more in common ground with one another. But yeah, I think this movie, another twin film. I mean, we could have done a whole episode on this as A Bug's Life for Seven Samurai, and I think that actually would have been a good one too.
Yeah, no, it's directly an influence from Seven Samurai.
Yeah, and that movie has also a lot of themes about, like, literally that movie's kind of like, if you go back, you're like, damn, they were cooking, because the grasshoppers, like, oh yeah, the ants outnumber us, and if they know that, then we're fucked. Like, they just can never know that they're actually stronger in numbers than we are.
Yeah. A Bug's Life, probably the most underrated Pixar movie.
Yeah.
I think that
I mean, when Flick at the end, Flick is the name of the ant?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, yeah, he says, ants don't feed grasshoppers. You need us. Like, you need us to to give you what you need,
Yeah.
and yet you treat us like we don't matter. So
Yeah, the bandits just want their barley or their rice.
but but they need it to be ripe. They need the farmers to do it. So it's those who take versus those who care and protect one another.
Yeah.
So very very good.
There's also
theme in Seven Samurai.
There's also this episode in Clone Wars, again Star Wars, where it just takes place with these clone troopers, and it's basically Seven Samurai. Yeah.
Really? I think there's a Mandalorian
or maybe
episode that's
is
like
it
that.
Clone Troopers or someone? Anyway, there's an episode. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I know it's directly referencing Seven Samurai because there's a bunch of guys trying to save this little village in one episode.
There's a Mandalorian episode about that too.
Yeah, and they even at the end of the episode they say dedicated to Akira Kurosawa, which is when I was like, oh yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
So it's everywhere. Seven Samurai is everywhere.
Yeah, it's actually shocking how you just learn about, again, these older foreign films, like international films that you are told are pretentious by certain people, and then you watch them or you pay attention to them and you're like, oh wait, this actually is literally essential to all of the things that I enjoy.
Yeah.
Because everyone, takes from each other and borrows from each other, and we all just kind of have played this game of telephone with films over the years.
Yeah, you have to just, I don't know, give it the time of day. You have to just like, I don't know. Well, when I first started watching like black and white films and foreign films, I was probably like 13, maybe 14, 13 probably. And obviously when I was that age, I was just like, oh, they're old movies, they're black and white, they're probably going to be boring, whatever. And then I watched movies like, I think one of the first movies I saw that was black and white was, I think, 12 Angry Men. And
I think that's true for a lot of people.
And it's just like, holy crap, this movie is fantastic from start to finish. You don't need color in that movie. What does that do anything for? It's the characters that are amazing. It's this tight story. They're in one location the entire time. It's like one of the greatest movies out there. One of the greatest bottle movies of all. Yeah, it's just guys, 12 dudes talking the entire time, and it's so good. And then I saw, like, right after that, like, a John Ford movie, Grapes of Wrath. And it's just like, oh my god, you can make black and white movies look amazing. Like, you can make these black and white movies look incredible. You don't need color in them. What like, sure, color could add some stuff every once in a while, but you don't need color to make the movie look fantastic. And it's not going to detract you from the story that's being told. And then when it comes to foreign movies, I honestly couldn't tell you what my first foreign movie... It was probably actually Pan's Labyrinth when I was like 9 years old. And I was like, why isn't it in English? Why can't I change the thingy? And I had to like... That was like one of the first times I had to like read subtitles and be like, okay, let's see how this goes.
I actually can't remember what mine was.
I just remember because it was such a moment in my life where I was like, why is this movie in Spanish? Why can't I put it in English? And I was like trying to do that, and I couldn't find like an English language. I went to like settings. I was like, it doesn't have an English. But
I can't remember what mine was.
But I just remember that as being like the first moment where I was like, oh, these movies are just foreign language movies that I just have to read subtitles for.
Yeah, they just be speaking that shit.
And
like,
obviously,
that's crazy.
Pan's Labyrinth is incredible. And it's a fantastic movie. Watch Pan's Labyrinth if you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Guillermo del Toro is like one of his best movies of all time. But
see, guys.
But yeah, once you get past like Bong Joon-ho said, once you get past like
1 centimeter barrier of subtitles,
yeah.
I think if you are, I'm gonna say this, if you're like, I don't watch movies that have subtitles because I don't want to read, I think you're being a child.
Yeah.
Like, you're behaving like a child.
Honestly, I sometimes I act as like, oh, this was my reading day because I got to read some subtitles. Because it is like, oh, I get to like, I'm reading stuff.
I mean, bro, like, just...
It's stupid, but it's like, you just don't want to.
I have to make
Yeah.
fun of you. I have to. Like, you're scared of words, bro.
Yeah.
I have to make fun of you. I'm sorry.
It's like you're literally like acting stupid.
Bro,
Like you don't know how to read.
I mean, it's good for you.
Yeah.
It's good for you. Anyway, yeah, there's just
And you
great,
get so many
great films.
different perspectives and stories from all these other foreign films that you would never get in America, and you're stopping yourself from enjoying many movies that could be like your favorite movies.
And so there's some misconceptions that even I have had, like where I'm like, oh, Korean movies are so good, and they are, and they're different. They feel different, and they're awesome. But the thing is, I'm probably only seeing like a very, very small tip of the iceberg in terms of Korean cinema, because I'm only seeing the stuff that gets international acclaim and I actually know about. So there's probably like so many Korean movies that aren't very good.
No. Korea is like
You're like, no, they're only good
They're
movies.
only good. Seriously though, like I was like a few years
Maybe
ago.
Maybe it was a bad example. I should have said a different country.
Back in the day when I was watching a lot of Korean movies, I was watching like Bong Joon-ho, Park Chan-wook, all like
Lee Chang-dong.
Lee Chang-dong, like all
but
these.
But those are like
yeah. But I was getting to like some of these smaller Korean directors and like more popular Korean movies that are really only popular in Korea, and they're all so good. They're all
if they're popular
amazing.
in Korea, then they're probably pretty fucking good.
Well,
I'm
yeah,
saying
but,
there are definitely Korean movies that probably just
but
lower
what I'm
tier.
getting to is that through like what do you call oh my god, I lost the
help me out.
The like when they do like God, why am I
describe
losing?
it, bro?
When they ask people like, oh, what's the best starts with the I can't think of the word. Basically, they got a lot of people.
A survey?
Kind of a survey.
Word of mouth?
I don't know. Basically, there was a study done, and they said that Korea and like Poland had like the best outcome of great movies than like most other.
I'm sure Korea is like one of the goats in terms of putting out great cinema. I'm not denying that. I'm just because like I said, every Korean movie I've ever seen has been fucking amazing.
No, that's the thing. It's like Korea just puts out great movies. Like they barely put out any like really like considered bad movies. Like there might be like a bunch of mediocre, but it's very rare that they put out like a bad movie.
All right, bro, I believe you. I should have said some other country, but all I'm saying is there is a degree of like you're not gonna see everything because you're not there. Possible. You're not in the I guess that world where we're seeing everything that comes out in America, and there's a lot of stuff that just doesn't leave an impact, and it just kind of fades with time. And like also here's what I really wanted to mention is that people say, oh, movies are so bad now, there's no good movies anymore, there's no good original movies.
Like,
it's a terrible take.
Talking about?
It's a terrible take, and it means you're not watching enough or seeking enough out. But here's the thing about that, it's also because you're alive right now. You're seeing everything that's coming out. You're not just seeing the stuff that's stood the test of time from the past. Like, go back into like 2006 and try to find like there's movies that have come out in 2006 that you just have never heard of that are so not even terrible, because that can give you notoriety too, but that are just like very middle of the road. There's just like, there is I'm trying to come up with a really good example, and it's hard because I don't want to be mean.
Yeah.
But there is like a lot of oh fuck. I'm so bad at this.
Why are you trying not to say a specific movie?
No, I'm trying to say a specific movie, but I'm blanking on like everything.
Yeah, we're just blanking today.
I'm just saying there's middle of the road films from every year.
Yeah,
and
there's
you're
good
only
movies,
see
bad
the ones...
movies, middling movies from every single year ever made in terms of when movies have been made from every single country. That
I also
makes
believe
movies.
every year at least one masterpiece comes out that's like one of the best films.
Yeah.
At
I
least
mean,
one.
there has to be at least one great movie. There has to be, like, at least in America, there has to be at least one. Like, if you look at the whole world in general, there's several. Like, we're just cutting ourselves off from seeing movies from other countries that could be like the greatest movie of the year.
Yeah, it's just I've known people, you know who I'm talking about, but I've known people that are just like so insistent that good movies are not being made anymore, or
Yeah.
that nothing interesting is coming out, but all they're watching is popular blockbusters.
Yeah.
And I will recommend them other films, and they're like, "No, that doesn't look good. I don't care about that. That looks weird," or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm just like, well, if you're only going to experience the depth of the movies that you want to, it's completely up to you. It's really up to what you're willing to engage with, including how deep you're willing to go with certain movies. Like we could analyze a movie on this podcast, and then someone could say we're reaching, but that just shows me that you're just not willing to. I don't know. I think it really depends on how deep you see yourself, or how deep you see life.
Yeah.
That's how deep you see movies. I'm going off on something completely unrelated.
I
These
mean,
are good movies.
I mean, I think you're right. I think people that kind of just see the surface level of movies are kind of surface level people. Like,
We're not trying to be pretentious.
Not trying to, yeah, but like, if you're only thinking of the basic stuff that a movie offers you, and you're not looking deep enough, then what are you looking at life with a sense of, like, what other things in life are you just looking at a surface level, and you're not thinking deep enough?
And I'm not saying this to get down on people and be pretentious. I'm literally saying this to encourage people. Be like, no, you actually matter. You have had so many unique experiences that have shaped you into the exact person you are today. And that person is you're able to see the amount of depth that you've experienced in other things. And that's like something I think everyone should be attuned to, is to just kind of see how you're part of something.
It's also the same people who are like, movies shouldn't be political. It's like, what
does
talking
that fucking
about?
mean? What's
Every
the point?
movie's political.
Yeah.
Every movie's political. If you just have to think about it just for a second, and then the movie becomes political.
Yeah.
Whether or not you like it or not, the movie is political. Star Wars is political.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It has the word wars in it.
Yeah. Like, how could you say Star Wars shouldn't be political when it was based on the idea of politics?
Speaking of war, we could talk about how these two movies deal with, I guess, because here's what's interesting. Seven Samurai is a post-war Japan movie, whereas Saving Private Ryan is a war movie based on the war that Seven Samurai was made right after. So, like, in the universe of Saving Private Ryan, Kurosawa was cooking this up like maybe a decade after.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's more about you were talking about Saving Private Ryan, focusing on how everyone's life, every individual life matters.
Yeah, I think that's basically the basis of what the movie's trying to say, is that, yeah, it doesn't, at a certain point you almost become desensitized, numb to the fact of war and that people die, but there needs to be a reminder that every life is worth living and every life should be protected and saved. And as each men die off in this group trying to find Saving Private Ryan, it becomes more and more clear that it's like, yes, every life means something. We need to protect every single person that lives, and the people that are oppressing other people and taking their lives away and are just like treating them as non-humans or just subhumans or whatever. That's the evil we have to inevitably stop.
So and there's an irony
there. There's this kind of this weird. It's not even a balance. It is kind of ironic or hypocritical in the sense that to save people, in terms of like this great genocide and like Holocaust, to save people, you have to gotta go to war, and by going to war, you have to hurt people and you have to kill people and you have to to stop hatred by going to war, you're kind of creating more hatred between people. And I think we need to go down to the micro level of how everything works and see that every people are important. We need every individual is important, and we shouldn't see it as a statistic or as this idea that, and even Captain Miller says this in the movie. He's like, okay, so what every person that I lose, I could assume that I'm saving 5, 10, 20 people because of it, and that's how I justify it. But maybe that's not how you should be justifying it. Maybe you should...
Yeah, maybe the one person that you lose, it could have done something irreplaceable.
Yeah.
And I think that they talk about that a lot too. They're like, Ryan better go on to cure some disease or something.
Yeah. And he, though he doesn't actually do anything as drastic as that, you do see him when he's older, and he has like a whole family. Like he's
and who knows what any of them will accomplish as well.
And I think the movie's just very is kind of talking to America and our people into this idea of whether or not we should be jingoistic about certain ideas and whether or not we should be, because obviously Spielberg has made movies about the jingoism of America in the past, even with 1941, which a lot of people don't like, and I think you're weak for not liking that movie because I think it's actually kind of really funny and great, and it's also making fun of the fact that we are so gung-ho about going to war when we don't really actually know much about it. Like we're it's a farce to want to go to war, because what like, at least with that movie, it's kind of like I think almost comparable to Eddington in a way, because it's like
everything
comes back to Eddington, but because it's like this performative action that you're taking. It's like, yes, war, we're gonna do it. We got to go to war because that's American. It's right, and yes, it is right to fight Nazis. It's a good thing to fight Nazis. You should fight Nazis, but you don't actually understand what you're doing. You're saying you're doing it because you want to do it, because you got that prestige of being like, yeah, I went to war. This is a good thing. But then you're actually in war, and it's like, oh, whoa, people are dying around me. My friends are dying around me. I'm being considered a hero even though I just survived. What is the meaning to all this stuff? Which is what I think Saving Private Ryan is more serious about in that case, where it's like, what is really the meaning of all this war? What are we really coming out of this for? And it's just, in the end goal is to save people, but there's the contradiction of like having to hurt people as well because of it.
Yeah, and in Seven Samurai, we're seeing these guys, and they're not even following an order to do this. They're doing this out of their own ambition, but they're also focused on saving lives. But it's obviously it's a village, it's a whole town of people, but at the end of the film, they kind of realize that the victory for them is kind of a death, because it's like, well, now we're warriors without a war.
Yeah.
And the victory doesn't ever belong to us. That's the thing. And it belongs to the people we save. I think that's something that's mirrored in Saving Private Ryan as well, because a lot of them die out, and even Tom Hanks's character, when he dies, he's like, earn this life that we're giving you. You know, so, and we also see the villagers. I mean, there was a connection that the young samurai made with one of the village girls, and she kind of ignores him at the end. It's like you're only as good as when there is a conflict. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's almost like the samurai that died are like had the
they're saying earn this.
They're yeah. Well, yes, but also those samurai, in a way, got to die meaningfully.
Yeah.
And these other samurai are like, what do we do now? You know, so there's a bittersweetness to the ending.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of like the ideas of the time when Seven Samurai came out, which was like, what, a decade after the war? and where the ideas of Seven Samurai is about coming together despite the past, and like these villagers who hate samurai and these samurais who don't like villagers, they have to kind of come together for a common goal, just like how in post-war Japan, people did a lot of bad things in Japan. Like, we kind of know this through history, but to kind of reform, they gotta kind of come back together and set aside the bad things that have happened in their past to make a better new beginning. And I think that's what kind of like the small little like theme that Seven Samurai is kind of coming out of when it comes to its the metaphor of getting out of World War II, is that we need to come together to face a certain oppression, which I think is kind of the American imperialism of taking over Japan after World War II, which is like the bandits are like, we're going to use you guys because you guys have all this, you guys are really smart and you're good with technology and all that, and we're going to kind of utilize you even though you guys have lost the war. But it's more about coming together as a community, rising back up, and having a better future ahead of themselves without the oppression of the bandits or the Americans, I guess.
Well, there's even a line that Kanbei says where he's like, maybe this will be the one that finally kills us.
Yeah.
You know? So
it's very multidimensional with both these films and what they're trying to say, which isn't always very clear or crisp. They're almost a little bit ambiguous in both cases, because it's like,
well, because I think this is just something that's hard for humans to wrap their head around.
It's very
like,
humanistic.
Even me talking about it right now,
it's the human condition.
Yeah, even me talking about it right now, I just can't, like, it's almost like there's not really a right answer that you could come to with this, because these are movies about war, and war is inherently an awful thing.
Yeah.
And we see how, you know, it is beautiful when we're able to see people come together to do something noble under those circumstances, but it's also, you know, when we think about the circumstances that led them there, it's quite horrific.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it can be kind of hard. That kind of hypocrisy you were talking about in Saving Private Ryan is kind of mirrored by the fact that, you know, Adam Goldberg's character finds a knife. It's the knife that kills him.
Yeah.
You know, Tom Hanks lets a guy go, does something noble, like he lets that one Nazi like walk away really far, and then what happens just comes right back, and he's the one that kills him. So
yeah.
But so you kind of have to ask, it's like, if it wasn't that, would it have just been something else, or was that a direct kind of like effect of what they were doing? And it's like, what's the right way? What's the right call in a war situation?
Yeah, do you be the moral, like, good guy, I guess, in that snenario in which you're letting him go, or do you?
Well, you can get punished for being the good guy. You can get punished for being the bad guy. You can get punished for for wanting to protect yourself by taking hold of a weapon, and then that weapon could just as easily be used on you.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's the fact that the weapon exists.
Yeah.
You know, it's the fact that we've kind of gotten ourselves into a situation where the weapon had to exist.
Yeah.
In a way. So, yeah, there's just not a right answer to war, really. But we can do our best to value each and every life. I think that's ultimately what we can take from these movies.
Yeah. No, I that's why I think these movies are just masterpieces in themselves. I actually have beef with you because you gave Saving Private Ryan 4.5 stars.
Oh, don't worry. I was thinking about that the whole time. I did that on a whim, and then I was like, I should probably bump it back to a 5.
Because
I was
like,
just thinking
you
about
gave it 5 stars, and then I saw that you gave it 4.5 on the rewatch. I was like, what?
I don't know. What? I think I just kind of thought that was what I had it at, and now I think I might have. I was like, but it should maybe be a 5. I was thinking about, because I did that right before I walked into watching No Other Choice, and then while I was watching No Other Choice, it kind of popped into my head at one point. I was like, Adrian's not gonna like that. I didn't give that a 5. Well, I would be fine to give it a 5. I think it really is just like a intuitive. It's not really. It's an arbitrary thing. Like, I don't know. The day that we watched it, I was just kind of like, yeah, like a great movie. It's not a movie that
I don't know.
it just doesn't
You kind of felt distracted. I feel like because you were talking about a bunch of other stuff during the movie, and I was like, "What does this have to do with the movie right now?"
I do that sometimes. But well, okay. I think framing it next to Seven Samurai kind of gives it. I think is what motivated the rating change.
I don't know.
Because I
think
kind of just think like
they're both like so well in some aspects. I think Seven Samurai kind of loses me a bit with its like kind of its some of its subplots where I feel like are kind of in some ways unnecessary, and obviously I don't. I'm not saying this is a bad movie or that it doesn't need that, but there are moments where I'm like, I don't really necessarily need this moment in the movie right now. It's good. It's fine that we have it, but it's like I feel like Saving Private Ryan. There's like no instance in that movie where it's like, oh, this is kind of a little bit of a filler, or this is kind of a little subplot. Everything kind of comes back in the end, or is like tied together.
I know. I think it's I think the playfulness is why I like it more than Seven Samurai. It's just a little. I mean, it's a different goal, so it's not like it's like better or worse than the other movie. I just like that more.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to say one's better or the other is better. But I do have to say that they're both like masterfully directed. Like
I think the filmmaking in both is perfect.
Yeah,
I just don't like. I just think Seven Samurai is just less my kind of movie than, or sorry, Saving Private Ryan is less that my kind of movie than Seven Samurai is.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's the same with me, but reverse. Like,
yeah,
but
that's why I gave it 4.5 on the rewatch. I was just like, yeah, it's like a perfect movie, but it's just not like it's not something I'm constantly thinking I need to go back and check this out again. So if I were to give it. Because I struggle with this. If I were to give it a 5, it would have to. It would be like. I mean, it would be like a very, I think, sound score for the movie, but it would also be almost dishonest to be like, oh, like I don't know. I'm trying
the thing is,
my best with the 5s to be like, this is something I like. It has the last half star. It kind of like has a personal kind of bonus attached to it in a way, and I'm trying. I mean, sometimes I rate things 5 because I'm just like, there's just no dig against this.
Yeah.
But then, I don't know. Sometimes I kind of fear that as an outcome. I don't really want to give a 5-star to a movie that I don't feel ultimately like that passionate about revisiting constantly.
I mean, I guess that's true if you want to do that. But if that were the case, honestly, Seven Samurai would probably be 4.5 for me.
Right.
But I would never ever do that because that movie is like just because I don't want to revisit it every other year or something doesn't mean that it's like so well crafted. Like for me, what kind of like is kind of I don't know what I struggle to find about people that don't like Saving Private Ryan. It's like what don't you like? What is the movie doing that needs to be different? What needs to happen to make it?
I've never met a guy that doesn't like this movie.
Oh, there's people out there.
I'm sure there are. I've just never met them.
Yeah, but it's like, how is this? What makes this not?
Wait, no, that's actually bullshit. I have met a guy that actually gave this, I think, like 1 star.
It's just crazy, and it's usually like something political. They're like, which is crazy because the movie's like, if you're against the politics of Saving Private Ryan, then in a way you're just calling yourself a Nazi. Like, that's usually the case. But and I guess I have seen some people that like kind of dislike it for like a few like nitpicky stuff. But again, for those nitpicky stuff, it's almost like, well, even that stuff is there for a reason. They did it for a reason. I think Saving Private Ryan is actually so perfect that there isn't anything in the movie that is like unnecessary or doesn't mean anything.
Okay, you're right. I fucked up. Because here's the thing. this is the problem with comparing movies sometimes, is that you're thinking about it in reference to something completely unrelated.
Yeah.
And I think it wouldn't be one of my favorite necessarily. Like, okay, let me give you an example. I gave Minority Report 4.5 stars.
Yeah.
And I would be less. I actually think I would be less motivated to give that a 5 than this, because I think this is like just undeniably like completely solid in every way. I think Minority Report, there is a little more of a flavor to it that you kind of have to, like, it's more of an acquired taste. In a way.
I mean, I honestly, if someone gave Minority Report a 4.5, I'm not gonna dig at them.
But I like Minority Report more.
Which is
so it's this weird. I kind of have everyone I think has like two brains, and one is like what you personally like, what scratches the itch for you, and then what actually you recognize craft wise.
So when I first started Letterboxd, I was just making a bunch of lists for directors and ranking lists for director movies, which was just something I did as a little kid, because I was like, let's see what I can do with this. And for a while, I couldn't figure out Spielberg, because he's obviously my favorite director. So I made two lists. I was like, this is this is the rank of my favorite Spielberg movies on a personal take, and this is my rank on Spielberg's films on a general take. Like what I think is like
technical.
Yeah.
Like I like I said, I don't think there's objectivity to it. I think it's just technical. It's what you recognize in the craft, which also comes from your opinion, but it's like for me it's like Saving Private Ryan, the craft is more impressive in a way than Minority Report. But in Minority Report, I'm like, no, this scratches my itch better, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's a much more much more entertaining film, because it's like you're going through this mystery, and it's like it's got this action, it's kind of got this kind of thriller aspect to it.
But
it's futuristic sci-fi kind of stuff. There's a lot of things going for it, which is like, I want to revisit this.
So it's like loving something and appreciating something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think Saving Private Ryan leans a little further on appreciating than some other movies.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I did that because I think that day I was just in I was in a mood of more my other brain, where I was like, but does this scratch the itch? Maybe I should just do 4.5 for this one. But here's how I rationalize ratings, because it would drive me nuts if I was trying to like be final about everything. Everything's subject to change, because we're all so imperfect in the way, and we learn things all the time.
Yeah, things change all the time.
Yeah. So here's how I justify ratings, is like, if I rated the movie 4.5 that day, you could today be like, it should be a 5, right? And I can agree with that. But the thing is, it really, it's just a timestamp of how I felt at that one very moment. It's really not a end all be all. The very next fucking day, I think I gave Jordan Peele 5 stars.
Yeah.
That's not better than Saving Private Ryan. Yeah. It's not. But for some reason, I was like, no, but I was so excited about Us because it had that kind of surprise element to me that I was like, oh, this is so me, though. This is so much of what I like.
There was so many times where I gave movies like pretty high ratings on the first time I saw it, because I was like, this is so great, I love the experience and everything, and then I'd watch it again, I'm like, I guess I could it was a bit too generous, and then maybe I'd watch it again, and I was like, damn, it's
called
so
a
good.
diary on Letterboxd, so it shouldn't be taken that as gospel. Like, it's a diary. It's your feelings on movies day by day. It's not.
Yeah, but the thing is, sometimes I'll like literally look at a review of a movie that I did like in the past, and it has like maybe 3.5 stars, and I'm like, I think it's a 4 star, so I'll just change
I'll
rating.
Do that too.
But
I'll probably go change the fucking Saving Private Ryan rating.
But I won't change the rating on the review itself. I'll change it like on the movie itself, but not the review. Because it's like, that's still my diary. That's how I felt at the time.
Right.
But I've definitely changed how I felt.
I think that's the right way to do it. I think it like I said, it's just a timestamp. It's just we're kind of moving through life, and it's like how we feel. Like highest to lowest. I put 5 stars, highest to lowest. I don't think highest to lowest is a perfect, flawless masterpiece, but we agreed it was a perfect Spike Lee joint.
Yeah.
And to me, I was on that brain where I was like, oh, but if it's a perfect Spike Lee joint, then it's a 5, because that's the only type of movie Spike Lee is making, is a Spike Lee joint. So,
and again, sometimes, like, honestly, I think I have it at like 4.5.
Yeah,
which I think is pretty.
It's
fair. A pretty good balance,
it's a very
because
fair.
Like, I could have easily given it 5 stars too, just because of how much I like it. But I'm also like, it's got a few flaws there, so I guess I gotta.
Yeah, and I've thought so many times, like, I should just change the rating back, because, and it's also partially being like, because ratings are so pointless and like shouldn't be taken so seriously. It is partially leverage to kind of make. I think I'm trying to kind of stir people a little bit, because I think people are too mean to the movie too.
Yeah.
So that also has to do with it. Yeah. It's like I'm going to give this a 5 because I actually think he knew what he was doing, and you guys are saying he didn't.
Yeah.
So there's that part of it as well. Also, if the movie's directed by M. Night Shyamalan, extra star by default. Like.
Yeah,
there's so many things.
Yeah, no. I mean, I guess I'm the same with Spielberg. I give Hook 5 stars. That's like
I gave The Happening 4.5. I wouldn't, like, it's not even that I think The Happening is a perfect movie or anything, but it's like, I think it's great at what it's trying to do. I just think people don't think it's actually trying to do anything.
Yeah, the same thing with Hook. I think, other than the nostalgia aspect, which a lot of people do love that movie just based on nostalgia, I do think the movie is accomplishing a lot of what Spielberg was trying to do at the time, and I think it pulls it off quite well. I think it's just the kind of the syrupiness of it all is what throws people off, and it's pretty dated. It's very much an early 90s movie, almost overproduced to a sense, but let it be overproduced. It's fine. And it makes me happy, and I love it. And it's like, I'm gonna give it 5 stars. Fuck it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's also, I mean, you recently bumped Superman to a 5.
Yeah, because I keep going back to thinking about that movie, and I'm just like, superhero movies aren't doing this stuff today as much as they should be. It's kind of the perfect balance of what Superman needs to be, and there's really not much in that movie where I'm like, you know what, that movie that kills the movie for me. It's a great superhero movie, and it does exactly what it needs to do. It's fun to watch. It's easily rewatchable. It's like it kind of presses every button what makes a movie fun and enjoyable and what I like.
So I think there's a difference between flawless and perfect, even though they're technically the same thing. Yeah. I think when you're talking about art, there's a difference. Because I think Saving Private Ryan and Seven Samurai are flawless. Mm-hmm. But I think Split is perfect. Like, okay. That movie is, like, perfect. I'm just like, that's a perfect thriller. But it's not flawless.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's just, it really, I don't know.
I mean, it comes back
There's nothing perfect in life.
Yeah, it comes back to the whole saying. It's like, it's not a perfect movie, but it's a perfect Spike Lee movie. It's like, it's a perfect movie in a sense.
It's yeah, because nothing's going to achieve everything.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it, I think. I think we've rambled on that for a while, but I'm sorry about the rating. It's just that
it's fine. It just kind of threw me for a loop. I was like, damn, he liked it less than he saw the first time. That's crazy.
Well, the thing is, the first time I was teetering, but I literally wrote, I was like, oh, it's flawless filmmaking, so it's 5.
Yeah.
But then this time, I think I was just more on the other side of my thinking, which is I was like, well, but do I personally, like, would I, like, want to go watch this all the time? Maybe not, but that's not really a metric.
And I mean, I understand that for not just you, but for most people who are just like not into like war movies. And
I'm not into these like especially American war movies. Yeah, like I just am not.
It could be pretty brutal.
Very
and
interested in that subject matter and that sort of thing.
But I love that. Like, I hope that doesn't make me a bad person. But
no.
I love these movies where it's like
I just don't find it as interesting.
I find it interesting because of like the brutality of it all and the realism of it all, and the aspects of like how intimate the characters really are. It's like like I like these characters way more than I do any of the characters in Seven Samurai. Not saying that those characters are bad.
Oh, see, that's where I really disagree.
Yeah, I thought you would.
Yeah.
The only character in Seven Samurai, which I'm like, the two characters obviously, Toshiro Mifune,
Kikuchi,
and Kanbei, like those are like, yes, those guys are great. But the other samurais, they're not bad by any sense, and they do have their own certain personalities to them, but honestly, they're not as fleshed out as I would like them to be in the movie. Whereas in Saving Private Ryan, I feel like every character is fleshed out to a point where I'm satisfied, I guess. And that's why I can kind of pick along like these details with these characters and how they interact and what they do versus what they should have done, and all this stuff makes it interesting for their characters specifically for that story and what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I mean, Seven Samurai does the same thing, but just on a little bit of a lesser intimate scale for me.
Yeah. I guess I could see that. I feel like these movies are somewhat equal in their intimacy.
I think they focus more on certain characters in Seven Samurai, whereas in Saving Private Ryan,
more balance, maybe.
I feel so. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I also just find sword fighting and samurai like cooler.
I mean, yeah,
it's just aesthetically, it's just cooler. But yeah, it again, it's all about the flavors that we connect with. I don't usually like American war films. I haven't seen enough of them, to be fair. But
I mean, to be honest, there's really just like a handful of great American war films. All the other ones are just kind of like, is this propaganda? Is this being Djangoistic? Yeah. What's going on here? I don't know.
Come and See, though.
Exactly.
Not an American war film. That's that shit right there.
Yeah, Come and See and Saving Private Ryan to me are kind of very different from each other, but also very much the same in the sense that I love rewatching them, even though it could be really hard for a lot of people to rewatch these movies because of how brutal and honest and sometimes scary and very open they are about war. But there's something about these war movies where I'm just like, I could just watch them over and over again and get something out of it, and really like almost humble myself in a lot of the sense, because that makes me kind of respect these people that have to go through these harrowing situations, and it's like I've never gone through that, and that's why I'm never gonna talk down on anybody who has, or give my opinion on something that I have no opinion on when other people actually do. So in a way, these movies are humbling to me in the same sense that they're also entertaining as well. So I don't know if that makes me like a weird person for that, but it's like I could watch these movies over and over again and just like really get into it.
I think you and I just had very different.
Yeah, we're very different
like,
people.
For you too, like especially you saw this a lot younger than me.
Yeah.
Like I constantly say on here, I'm having to see these classics. I saw this for the first time with you.
Yeah.
Like 2 years ago. I'm having to see these classics like later in life, so they don't have as much of a wow as they might have when I was like a kid if I had seen it. But they're still really good. Also, my interests just lie in different places, I think.
Sure. I mean, we're all different. We're all going to have different opinions on everything. Yeah. Like, I don't think even movies that we both love at the same, like I guess, ratio level or whatever, we probably love them for different reasons.
Yeah, very much.
So, I mean, that's why it's all subjective. That's why it's all art. It's all, you get something out of it. It's different than someone else.
It's like war. There's no right answer. That's why it's all no, but that's why it's beautiful. Not war art.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay, we've rambled on that for long enough. These are great movies. Watch both of them. I don't know how you haven't if you're listening right now. You probably have seen them. Watch them again.
Yeah. Honestly, watch them back to back.
Yeah,
like
watch
I
them
did.
back to back.
And you
Spend
could
6
really
hours of your life doing it.
You could see the comparisons that we've made.
Okay, well, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
I guess. Give us a like, give us a follow, give us a comment, send us an email if you wish, telling us what you would like us to cover. We're definitely open to that. Give us feedback. Follow us on other platforms. Follow us on this platform. Rate the podcast. Tell your friends about it. Listen to new episodes every Monday. Follow us on Instagram. Every single thing you could possibly do it. I've been Peyton.
And I've been Adrian.
And we'll see you next time on the Apple Box.